Here today with you all. I just want to basically give you the presentation, which for I think many of you with some things that you already know, and take this opportunity.
Sorry, you're on mute.
Thank you. I don't know, someone had muted me, which doesn't really cut it for like a presentation. So I was just saying that I'm gonna try to go like as quickly as possible through this presentation. I think many of you already know it. And the objective is really to answer the questions you may have. So let's go for it. So about building bridges, it's about obviously aligning finance with sustainability. We are aiming at accelerating the transition to a global economic system more aligned with social and environmental principles like the SDGs, for example. As you know, Building Bridges was built out of the observation that the scale and complexity of the sustainability transition require to build these bridges, and that's therefore like what we're trying to do here. And I think that's something important to keep in mind when you develop your event and when you apply for it in the way you apply for it as well. We aim at shaping the global sustainable agenda. Obviously, there is some content that we build, but there is also very much all the content that you will come up with, which is equally important. And therefore, it's not us, but it is, not us at Building Bridges, it's like us as a community shaping this sustainable finance agenda. And obviously, the end goal is like to channel public and private capital for activities that are generating maybe profits and prosperity, but also while preserving and restoring the balance for our planet as much from a social as for an environmental point of view. So this year, the summit will take place on the 9th of December. The whole Building Bridges will take place from the 9th to the 12th, Monday to Thursday, as usual. In December, as you may know already, basically we had a choice for the little story to either go in the same venue in December or a different venue in October. We weighted all the possible pros and cons, and it was very clear that we are better off doing it in the same place in December. So the summit is as in previous years. It is an event that is on invitation only, completely driven. Like the content is designed by Building Bridges team, and obviously all like the funding partners and friends of Building Bridges, I would say. The action days, that's what we're here to discuss today. So you all know what it is about, I think, 3 days of sustainable finance events with, as I was saying before, all this content coming from the community. And then throughout, there is the village that allows for like interaction, networking. We had like a pitch area last year that had worked quite well to a certain extent, but could also be improved. So these are like a number of things that we want to work on. Something very important, we are very happy to join forces with UNEP-FI. Obviously, it's a much older house than Building Bridges. It is the 18th Global Roundtable that will take place on the Tuesday and on the Wednesday in room D and in another like smaller room as well, most likely. It is their 18th roundtable, and it was done in Geneva 30 years ago. It's like really something that is very structuring when it comes to like sustainable finance. And so the action days will kick off on the Tuesday 10th in the morning with a joint session. So a joint session basically designed by both Building Bridges and UNEP-FI. which we hope, and we more than hope, it will be very high level with like top speakers. And we are like working on the content now. It's very promising already. Now, when it comes to the important points for you to keep in mind when applying for the event, there are like 4 things: the format, the session time, live stream availability, and the fact that you can only apply for like 1 event per organization. So formats, we are favoring workshops, fireside chats, maybe also different formats like the fishbowl discussions, or even like simple keynotes rather than panels. As that's out of when you spend like too much time, I guess, inside a room and you go one event after the other. At some point, it's getting a little difficult to follow too many panels. So we're like really observing that it's much more beneficial for the participants to attend like workshops or like other kind of discussions like fishbowl, for example. Last year we had suggested 45-minute slots. It didn't really work. So this year we scrapped this option. And instead, while we obviously want to go for like less is more, I'm a strong believer that's a well-wrapped session of like 60 minutes or even like shorter can be more efficient than the longer session. There is also the conclusion that was like drawn last year is that for like workshops, roundtable workshops, it's sometimes not enough. You want to have a presentation and you want to have the time for like each table to work through like different topics and then to have like a wrap up at the end. So this 120 minutes, so 2 hours will be only for the workshops. That's something like new compared to last year. Availability will be live stream, will be available exclusively in room A, B, and C of the action days. And I'll get into slightly more details right after about the different rooms available. And last year, that's something that we didn't make very clear. There are organizations that have like applied for like several events. We really want each organization to pick the focus in order to maybe reduce applications, have like more like focused application and allow for like more organizations to be able to express themselves. How to submit an event. So we're on the 29th today. This is so the call for events is open, and we're doing the info session as we speak. The main deadline that you need to like keep in mind for now is like the 22nd. After the 22nd at 6 p.m., it won't be possible anymore to apply for an event. I strongly basically I am running this process, and I also I'm working on like other things at the moment. So I cannot guarantee you that I will be able to answer like very quickly for like last minute queries. Therefore, I would be very grateful if you could get back to me earlier if you have like questions, if there are like things that you would like to clarify. I think it could be beneficial mainly for you. It would make my life easier, but I think it kind of like increases the chances for you to get like a good answer as well. And so my email for those who don't have it already will be like shared later. It's also in the guideline that was previously shared. All the events will be then assessed. We're taking like a little bit more time than last year to give you back the feedback in order to make sure that we select the best event and we kind of like build the best articulated program. Either if you made it in the final program or not, you will receive a notification by mid-July latest. And then from mid-July, for those who are selected, we will ask for like further information, like for example, like logos, and like maybe rework a little bit your the topics that you want to present, if applicable at all. For us to basically be able to like put it online, and this will come like online around like late August. Who can hold an event at Building Bridges? Any type of organization, public, private, non-profit, academia, corporates, UN, everyone is invited to apply for for an event. You can be based anywhere in the world. I think it can be easier if you can see the venue to get like a good sense of what you can do and can't do maybe, but by experience, it has not been a problem in the past. So we really invite people from like anywhere in the world to apply. This is mentioned here, and it's not who can hold an event, but I think this needs to be made clear. The objective is to advance sustainability in finance and or financing the SDG. So this is really what we're focusing on. It's not about advancing sustainability in the corporate sector. It has to have like a strong link with like finance and sustainable finance. Event requirements. So here I put it again, it's purpose, it's on purpose, sustainable finance, financing the SDGs, embodies a vision and mission of building bridges, which is like more detailed in the guidelines, and I have put like a few bullet points at the beginning of this presentation. We really encourage you, and this will be, the point will be made stronger even after, to include in your events a range of like sectors and focus areas. Basically, we don't want to have like only NGOs by themselves. I mean, we don't want. We encourage this not to happen, at least to have like only NGOs or only private finance applying for like events, but like maybe like a network together with a UN organization and the academia and someone from like the private sector to basically have a diversity of organization coming up with an event. In our opinion, this is how we best build bridges. And obviously, the event cannot be promotional. We're here to advance sustainable finance, not to promote a single company organization. Every event that is made that is part of like the program of building bridges cannot be on an invite only. As long as someone is registered to join building bridges, this person can access any of the session in the same way that anyone will be able to come in the building. We will be registered, we will have a ticket, can also access the global roundtable of like UNEP-FI, and everyone coming for UNEP-FI can also access our event. So the objective is really like mixed crowds. Yeah? If you want to organize behind closed doors events, that's also completely possible. It will just not be part of the official program. Keep this in mind, because sometimes, in fact, it is a lot more efficient to do like small scale behind closed door events. This is something that obviously maybe won't end up, will definitely not be in the program, but like from like feedback I had last year, these behind closed door events tend to maybe deliver more than the classic panel that is a little bit more like classic in terms of what can one say or not say. And therefore, like keep in mind that this is an option that can also be very efficient to advance all the themes that we're discussing here. So this is important. The criteria your events will be assessed on. So diversity of partners and stakeholders. This is what I just mentioned before. The interactivity of the formats, the scope of what you want to achieve, and like how solution oriented is your events. So these are like four like criteria that will all get, and obviously in addition to like the actual topic of your events, but definitely the diversity of partners, as I mentioned before, it's extremely important. We're here to build bridges between communities, and in our opinion, that's a very important point. If it is only one organization or two organizations of similar types that are organizing a given event, then we'll also obviously look at like the speakers' diversity. We don't want to have speakers that all coming from like the same place with a similar background. Interactive formats. There are even less spots than last year for panels, and we'll encourage people to apply for like workshops, training, discussions, like fishbowl discussions, these kind of things. These numbers I have put here, 20 panel, 30 workshops, 15 fishbowl, that's very approximate, but it's just to give you a sense of like the number of like slots available for each, let's say, type of room setup. And I'll get to this in slightly more details right after. Clear and defined scopes. We do not want the participants to walk out of an event without like really knowing how they can make this like actionable in maybe not the daily life, but like at least that they can really learn something from it, rather than like going out of an event with like esoteric view on what could happen in a perfect world, for example. So we really encourage this discussion to be also as grounded as possible and as targeted, and it comes together with like being like solution oriented, actionable solutions. Yeah, these are like important. It was mentioned before, it's mentioned here again. If the event is too promotional, it will be automatically excluded. So to define a bit the scope of like how this works and what we provide and what you expect it to provide. So we provide the meeting space, all the infrastructure with water, snacks, etc. All like the IT and like what's needed basically to like run your events, sounds, lights, and video. The registration system, security room monitoring, live stream only in room A, B, and C. We will obviously promote the action days as a whole and certain individual events, maybe not all. We're not like exactly sure how we're gonna just like go about this in details. We will also provide you with like a promotional kit to allow you to like promote Building Bridges at large easily and to promote your event in particular. We offer for each event that has been selected 5 tickets to access the action days and 2 all access passes. These all access passes give you access to both the summit and the action days. These 7 tickets in total are for you for the event organizer to allow yourself in and to allow your speakers in. If you have more people than these that are expected to join, then they will have to purchase their tickets. It's not mentioned anywhere in the presentation. The cost of the tickets will probably remain similar as last year, but we're not completely sure about this. So this is something we'll get back to you about it. And the summary reports and photos will also be provided after the events. What you are expected to provide, it's obviously the design, the actual design and of your event, the concept and organization, finding the speakers, coordinating with them, prepping them, and like design the overall agenda and session flow. Before until last year, we had like a fee of 250 francs for everyone. We decided, in order to make this also a bit more fair for like the sponsors, to dramatically, in fact, increase the fee for like for-profit events, for for-profit organizations, sorry. And for like non-profits, so I don't know, like associations, NGOs, UN, etc. The fee remains 250 for those like financial institutions, for example, private financial institutions, corporates. The fee to organize an event is 2,500. General promotion of Building Bridges. We also ask you, thanks to like the kit we will provide, to also promote Building Bridges, your events, but also like Building Bridges as a whole. And should there be any additional costs tied to your events, we're talking about travels for like a photographer, for example. This cost will also be on you. Session in room A, we can accommodate over 600 people. It's on the ground floor. This is the room where the summit is taking place and where also the plenary in the morning will take place. Which is like suitable for like a panel discussion, keynotes, fireside chat, training, research of or case study. So just examples, but basically it's a typical setup. This is also a classic setup, which allows for like similar formats. It can accommodate slightly over 100 people. One room will be dedicated for like the global, so the B or the C will be dedicated to UNEP FI for the global roundtable on Tuesday and Wednesday. So yeah, that's basically, we're gonna have like 1.5 room, let's say, to use for the action days. Last year in room E, we had roundtable workshop. In room F, we had a fishbowl. This year, we have decided to move the two into into roundtable workshops, as this was, I think, probably the highlight for like many people, where they learned the most, where they were able to like engage and like actually participate, and where they learned the most, in fact. So this is on the top floor, room E and F. They are right next to each other, and they can accommodate 64 people. Room E and F do not have a live stream option. And then this fishbowl that last year was on the third floor will this year go on the -1, can accommodate about 50 people. And this is exclusively for like a fishbowl type of discussion. Last year, the main difference here, I think, are two, in fact, of them. One is that there are slots you see in room E and F that can go up to like 120 minutes. In the application form, you will be asked to justify yourself why you want like 120 minutes. Only for this format, you really have to justify, because it's a lot, but in some cases it can really be beneficial. But obviously we want to give 120 minutes only when it's really, really beneficial for the session. Last year we also had 12:30 to 1:30 blocked at lunch for everyone to go and at lunch together at the same time. We came to the conclusion that in fact it was probably not best to do it this way, for simply because there was too much queue in fact around lunchtime. So we decided to have sessions finishing at different time in order to like avoid having too many people at the same time queuing. So here we see like it starts with like a plenary, and then at 10 a.m. just like last year we get going with the sessions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different rooms running in parallel for basically the action days. And then there will be one more room in room D where it will be the global roundtable of UNEPFI. This is the checklist for your event submission: event topic and framing, format, agenda, category and SDG, partners or collaborators, potential speakers, key target audiences, and description of solution orientation. I think that's about it. This is the link where you can apply for your events. And here is my email if you have any question. I think I am done here.